For this tutorial, we will be creating the early stage growth of corals, where different polyp growth is formed and you can see different colony species of corals. In this low-level coral example, we have what looks like rough textured coral rocks or early grass. I also have different elements that look like the start of tree or tube coral, a jelly-like species called bubble coral, and a smaller shaped polyp-like bloom. Let's begin with our early stages of grasses and coral rock textures. As you can see in my example, I have made myself an array of different clay colors. It's important when making groupings of coral clusters, whether it be in the seagrasses or these bubble-like corals, having a variety of colors makes your sculpture have a stronger visual appeal. I have even included different colored clays within these leaf-like small polyp shapes. Corals are actually animals that have structures that are called the polyps, and the coral polyps are attached to the substrate, and anything that's a substrate is something that's like a hard surface. So it can be like a rock, it can be another hard coral that's already formed, it could be actually marine debris, which is why we're doing our sculpture on our can, because we're connecting with the fact that we have pollution and now coral is growing off of that, and it can really be any hard surface. For this, I'm just giving the illusion that it's on the ground of the ocean floor. I'm just using a piece of cardboard and I have greenish kind of clay on the bottom so that the pieces that I make stick to that spot. Talking about just this particular style, we're going to be using just the bamboo skewer, although for this whole set of lower level, these are the only two tools I needed, the bottom of my paintbrush and then the bamboo skewer with its pointy edge. I'm just going to choose maybe a different color than I have here so that you can really notice it. Add a piece of clay in any size to the surface or the substrate in which your coral is living off of. I've chosen the color purple to fit with my sculpture. One type of colony can grow off of another type of substrate at any given time. That means another kind of colony can plant itself on top of one that's already there. Hence why you have one coral growing off of another coral and so on. This is how coral reefs form. Once attached, add the texture. It's almost like drawing different hair-like lines. You can change the different directions of the lines. Different currents in the ocean help move and sway these small hair-like grasses and coral growth. So when we create them here, we want to give that same illusion. Now let's move to creating this rounded jelly-like coral using different colors of my greens. Sometimes these corals have names like pineapple coral, moon coral, but for this tutorial, I'm going to call it bubble coral. For this, I'm just balling up small amounts of clay, putting a whole lot of little spheres into one area. I have gone in and added a bit of extra texturing to add some definition to this coral on my sculpture. Here are some visual examples of these in the ocean. I'm just adding a few extra brown rocks or rock coral forms on my edges here. Okay, let's make some polyp leaves, which look similar to soft coral mushrooms or shelf coral. I'm using different browns for these, and I want them to look petal in form and shape. Start with forming little flat round discs. Use the bottom of the paintbrush to hold it down in the center while pulling the sides up and around it. Fold the edges up and around. Some can be more folded than others. Place it into the sculpture. You can use your brush end to place and carefully push the center into the clay base. You can place smaller ones inside that shape, adding another leaf using a different color. This will add interest to your work. Finally, let's create a few more seagrasses that are a little larger in size. Making them vary in color and pulling in some of the different colors in the color palette can really unify the entire sculpture. Roll out your clay color, have one edge more narrow to a point. Use your cardstock paper to cut off the end. And then roll to a point again and repeat these steps. Do this with a variety of colors. There's one coral that has a similar look to these pieces. That coral is called a Duncan Coral. Here is a picture of what that looks like. I guess you could also say that sea anemones carry the same look too. With their long flowing shapes and tentacles. I could probably look at ocean coral all day, but let's get back to our piece. Varying the lengths of these clay pieces could give you different effects within your sculpted piece. Take your bamboo skewer and use the end of it to place and secure each grass piece to your sculpture. Try adding more grasses in different places around your sculpture to fill in any blank areas. That concludes our tutorial on low-level, early coral growth sculptural elements using plasticine clay. I hope you enjoyed this demo. Make sure to check out my other coral tutorials to help with your overall coral sculpture.